one more time. We'll be live in about 2 minutes. So grab a drink and grab a seat, and then we can kick off. I'm just going to stand here and whistle some elevator music until we begin. But I think we can start the live show as well. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Lauri Tankler. I work at the Estonian Information System Authority. We also have a new international name today. We're now called the National Cybersecurity Center at the Estonian Information System Authority, so NCSC. There will be a lot of weird acronyms that you may know or not know tonight, so just bear with us. But I would like to just welcome you all to our first edition of a Cyber Meetup event. Just to go through this really quickly about why we are doing things and what we hope that you will be doing as well. So, first of all, there's some food, there's some drinks for people who are here online, and offline, and everybody who is online can grab their own food and drinks and follow us along. We're going to have an hour-long, an official part of this, and then like an unofficial part of this. So everybody who's online, you can go on and mingle with your homies at home after 1 hour. But everybody who's here at the Palo Alto Club, and thank you for the Palo Alto Club for hosting us. Thank you very much. Then you can find some more drinks and some more of this food, finger food, and mingle with each other later on as well. We have an agenda, so this is not a completely structureless event here. We actually have an agenda. We have 4 things on the agenda. One is what I'm doing right now, introduction. Then we're going to be talking about the threat landscape, the threat landscape that we've seen in March and actually also last year. For reference points, we also have this Estonian Cybersecurity in Estonia booklet on some of these tables here. They're both in Estonian and in English. And feel free to read them. Feel free to actually grab some of them along. And if you need more of them, like physically, these books, you can actually ask us. Then we can probably organize something for you and your organization. Then after that, we have a guest speaker. It's not just RIA that's doing this whole thing, but a guest speaker from the NATO CCDCOE, the Cyber Cooperative Cyber Defense Center of Excellence. That's right, exactly. You're correct. I was testing you all. Carrie is going to be talking to you about the Locked Shields event, the biggest NATO exercise, I think the biggest cybersecurity exercise, at least here in the Western world. I don't even know if it's in general. And then we're going to come back to some of the new initiatives that we're promoting here in RIA, by RIA, and one of them is called the CyberTransformation. It may, I'll let you know what it is, and then we'll definitely have questions and ways to discuss with these things with everybody else as well. During all of these talks, first of all, you are welcome to ask questions. For the purposes of our online viewers, we have a separate microphone here for you if you have questions for our presenters in the beginning. Just raise your hand, and I or some of our colleagues will get you this this microphone, and then just ask questions. Right. But so this is for the housekeeping. Everybody just have fun, and then after this whole thing is over, then all of this is for the next hour just yours to just hang out and then find out who are these weird new faces that I've never seen, and why are they here, and how, you know, all those questions. So one thing I need to also address is why are we doing this in English right now? Because usually if we do events by RIA, we do them in Estonian for the Estonian cybersecurity community. Our audiences or our target groups are usually either the operators of critical services, or they're going to be implementing some sort of standards and all those kinds of things. Some events are aimed at building this kind of a community who can, I don't know, call each other and discuss incidents and all those kinds of things. But we also recognize that there's a lot of people working in the cybersecurity community here in Estonia who may not have Estonian as their first language. And we want you to feel welcome here as well. All of us Estonians, we know English so well, like so well. It's like no problem at all for us to actually keep this to make it so that you are also you also understand us, because eventually after the lights go down and people come off the stage, we're going to be talking to in English anyways. So why not just do one event in English that we can actually join together, and you can also find out what's going on here. The Cyber Meetup for us at RIA, or sorry, NCSC, or, you know, RIA still. It's also about some of these new initiatives we want to discuss about, and we want to bring you some new information, including also like finding and taking the temperature of whether some of these events or some of these initiatives could be good for you. Would you be interested in some of this? For example, we're going to be asking you to tick a box in one of these registration places, whether this is whether a training would be interesting to you, whether we should do it or not. You know, and then we'll find out, and we'll get in touch with you, and then invite you to a training if we find sufficient interest. And also, we're doing this also in English, and in this manner of like broadcasting it live, because the cybersecurity community in Estonia is not only about Tallinn. We do have faraway places like Tartu, and other faraway places like Rapla, and other faraway places. Also, there's you know, other towns. Pärnu. Shout out to my hometown, Pärnu. Whoop. And the final reason why are we doing this is why not? It's been a while since we saw you guys, and we really want to see you guys again, and we want to talk to you and hang out with you a little bit, and then grab a drink, and then stuff like that. But before we continue on this path of finding out what incidents there are, I would like to introduce to you some new acronyms which may be less important to you but are important to us. So this event also marks as a kickoff for an European Cybersecurity Competence Center and a network of national coordination centers, sort of an event and community building. What we would like for you to have a takeaway here is that these acronyms, they may not mean anything to you. And what we want to actually just tell you is that we're going to have new stuff that we're doing at RIA. New stuff which is aimed at small or medium companies. New stuff that is aimed at the cybersecurity companies or service providers. New stuff that is aimed at building the next generation of specialists, startups, spin-offs, these kinds of things. We are going to have new initiatives in the next couple of years, and they have all something to do with the National Coordination Center, which is us at RIA, where we do this, we have a role here. And they're being funded by the European Cybersecurity Competence Center, which is not yet operational. So we're basically doing the work with, that the ECCC should be doing. You don't have to remember those acronyms, but if you do, kudos. Every member state in Europe is going to have one of these coordination centers. They're going to do their own events for their own community, and then we're going to do some stuff together. So we don't know yet what we will do together. For example, I intend to bring some of their initiatives to these events, to have them come over here, talk to you, hey, we're in Luxembourg, or we're in France, and we're doing these kinds of things. If you want to join us, you know, come. And then I hope that some of you will maybe find partners in some of these other member states as well through this network of national coordination centers. Is there money in it? I don't know. But could be. There's a lot of money in cybersecurity. Are there interesting projects? Could be. Let's find out. This is the aim of this event, to actually have some of the local people come together, and then we could bring you some of these European initiatives from other coordination centers as well. So yeah. So today, next up, we'll have Threat Landscape by Märt. We'll have Locked Shields by Carry. Then we'll talk about the CyberTransformation. And then later on, you can find some people to talk to. But next time, and we're going to be doing this regularly, these sort of meetups. And we're going to announce the next Cyber Meetup, by the way. We already have a date, April 13th. It's a Thursday. You're already looking in your calendar, right? You again? Yeah? You good? You're on vacation? Okay. So Jürgen won't be able to do this, but maybe others will. We'll try to do this once a month on a weekday at an evening time slot. We'll always have this sort of a, hey, we're having new initiatives. Then we'll always try to have this threat landscape overview because RIA has these like products, analysis products, which Märt is going to be discussing about either quarterly or monthly or yearly overviews of threats. And then we'll always have a guest speaker or a couple of them. And then we'll have this drinks and snacks so that you could actually do some more networking. And that's it. This is why we're doing this. This is why we're bribing you with drinks and snacks to come together and talk to each other, so that we could talk about what we see and invite you to do things with us and with each other. And with that, I'll just give you the next speaker the floor. Märt will come up, and he will tell us about what RIA sees, what's the cyber landscape or threat picture right now. Märt.
Many thanks to you, Lauri. Also, warm welcome by me. Good evening to everyone and our online viewers as well. My name is Märt Hiietamm, like is written there on the slide. And just to come back to the first acronym that Lauri mentioned, that yes, we work together at the cybersecurity branch of RIA, which is now called the National Cyber Security Center. And this is basically only because in every EU member state there is such a center already, and we just wanted to be, not to explain to everyone when we go to the EU that we are in fact the National Cyber Authority. But that's that. I will today speak a bit more about actually last year and also what we or my department does in the NCSC in RIA, because this is the sort of the kickoff. And next time I'll try to then focus on really what happened during the last month and go more in detail on that. Lauri mentioned all those formats that we do, and we actually do quite a lot, and most of this stuff is public and is available on our website. Not all of this is available in English. Probably not all of this will never be available in English, but there will be more things written in English as time passes, I'm sure. Every morning we actually have a newsletter, which is an overview of what happened during the last 24 hours. And this is in Estonian. You can register on the mailing list. It's very easy. You can do it on any email address you might have. It doesn't have to be anything special. Then the weekly overview. This is of the regular formats. This is the only one which is not public. So this is for the Estonian officials and CISOs of national agencies or critical service providers. The monthly summary is what actually we'll probably be speaking about next time, and then the time after. So this is, again, a public thing. It is only in Estonian right now, but we will try to do it in English in the future as well, for the benefit of also of this audience here. And it consists of different parts. One is like the creme de la creme of incidents. Then is what RIA has done, or the NCSC in RIA has done to enhance the level of cybersecurity in Estonia. And third is the most noteworthy incidents globally. The quarterly summary is in Estonian and in English. It comes out around a week or two after each quarter is over, and that then we focus on 3-4 biggest issues we've witnessed, and then we also give a small evaluation or assessment what we think that will happen in the future with that. The cybersecurity yearbook Lauri mentioned. Today, actually, I will be mostly focusing on the cybersecurity yearbook. This takes up everything that was important for Estonia in cyber last year, and then I will focus on that. You can, like he said, you can take it. You can read it also on the website. And then we do like more ad hoc things, threat assessments, incident reports, etc. But moving on. Right, just a slide about the yearbook once more. So it's, like I said, it's in English and Estonian, and it's very nicely available on our website. So last year, there were a fifth or more incidents, registered incidents by us in the NCSC in RIA than the year before. So this is not too significant. It's a bit significant because it's been actually pretty stable the last 3-4 years. And the biggest number was phishing, different kinds of phishing. But just a reminder, so if there is an incident, if your mother has an incident, if she gets a sextortion email or whatever, just please let us know, and then we will have a better overview of what's going on, and then we will register all the incidents, and that is actually the incidents with impact, right? But we get, this is like I think it's like 5%, 10% are with an impact, but this is the overview of those. But it's always good to know, even if it's just an email, it's good to know. So please let us know. Even though the biggest number was different types of phishing, we dubbed in this yearbook on those tables. The last year we dubbed it the DDoS, year of the DDoS. I think the year before we named the preceding year security vulnerability year, and the year before I think it was phishing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, probably phishing or no, it was phishing. So it was like the the new trend that comes in, the new biggest trend, because you can see there the number of DDoSes last year here was much bigger than the year before, so it quadrupled, right? And this is, of course, very much to do with what's happening in the world, namely the horrible Russian war on or in Ukraine. We can pretty well link most of those DDoSes to that, to actually what we have been saying and doing as a response to what's going on in Ukraine. And just we have picked out 3 more significant events. So last year in April, the lock shields was happening, and that's the next agenda item, right? And well, it's a NATO thing, right? So of course there was a wave of DDoS on different institutions, by Russian-supported groups or just volunteers, whatever. It was a Russian thing. Then in August, who was already living here, you might remember that there were a few monuments removed from public space. One was a tank in the east of Estonia, and that was the record in DDoS that year, the time. You can see a connection there, the obvious one. Then at the end of the year, our parliament said that the Russian regime is a terrorist one, and that was the second busiest time of the year in DDoS. So there's a big correlation there. So the year of the DDoS, even though phishing was the most prevalent. Just a very quick overview, because we're a bit behind time, I see. We had some quite major service disruptions last year, but this was none of them was with any attacks. It was just like failures, basically. Maybe the biggest problem was in December, when there was just a major storm on our islands, and then there was no electricity for, well, days in some places, and then there was, of course, no mobile. So that was a problem. But that was a cyber incident, but not an attack. And maybe also to mention the EID problem at the end of August, when actually you couldn't identify yourself for 3 hours, I think, during one night. So that was a thing. A lot of fraud, there's phishing basically, and very different things, right? Banks, courier companies, also CEO, salary invoice. It's been there for years now, and it's staying. The emails are getting, the texts are getting better in Estonian, so it's going on. There are some costs involved for the victims. Could be thousands, tens of thousands. So it's something to look out for and warn your friends and family about. Ransomware globally, it's a massive problem. For us, it's a problem as well, but it's not been maybe as big or as massive yet. And actually, the number of registered ransomware incidents. That's why I said, please notify us every time there's an incident. The number of registered ransomware incidents went down like a third. But still, there were significant ones. One company, for some reason, got it twice. Normally the victims end up not paying, probably not either, but not paying. But we are aware of incidents, cases in which actually payments were made, and not very small ones. We're talking six-figure numbers here, and it's, for an SME, that's not that little amount. So please be secure and do not leave anything in the open that shouldn't be in the open. And if there is a problem, also let us know, and we can advise you where to go next or what to do next. Then there is a slide about the most notable incidents last year globally, which is also there actually as a chapter in our yearbook. And I just basically, there's data leaks here, but these are all ransomware related. So different public services were hit by ransomware in different countries. Also, France, Montenegro, Albania, Costa Rica I brought out there. But imagine if you're a 1,000-bed hospital with severe problems with your services. That's a problem. And then they even declared state of emergency in Costa Rica because a lot of things had to be run on paper again. And there was not, it's good that here we have so far stayed clear of such massive problems, but it's always good to be ready to counter them. Basically, in a nutshell, as we're really a bit behind now, Russia has also waged war on Ukraine for more than a year now in cyberspace, and Ukraine has fought back also in cyberspace surprisingly well, also with the help of allies and also companies, but they're hanging in there. So now to this year, this is the beginning of this year, so basically there's a bit less incidents, as you can see now, than there was the end of last year. DDoS is going on also in Estonia, keeps going on, and other countries, EU countries, NATO countries, again, most of the same actors behind them. Service disruptions, ransomware is still present, and we also had our elections 2-3 weeks ago, and in cyberspace at least, they turned out to be very secure and even boring. Thank you.
So I know, time and everything like that, but we do have time for questions. If there's anybody who feels like you need clarification, over there, just a sec.
Thank you, Eugene. Just a random question, okay?
Yeah.
Do you have a plan to have an e-voting hackathon?
So, e-voting hackathon ideas.
Well, it's not. Let's say it should probably be planned by another authority, the election board. But I think that could be a good idea. Yes.
Does anybody have questions about? So, a lot of these things that he talked about were chapters also in this cybersecurity yearbook. Pick it up, read it, and then you can ask him again, because then you'll know a lot more about what was written there. Okay. Anyone else? Not right now. Again, you will have time to actually ask questions later on as well, because he will probably stay at least until the end of,
Maybe not until late, but a bit.
Yeah, not too late, but okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And now we will. I'm inviting you, Carry, up to the podium. We will have a short overview of what is the largest live fire cybersecurity exercise in the world. I think. Estonia is also, of course, taking part as a blue team there, but we're not talking about the Estonian team here. We're talking about the general Lock Shields idea, right?
Thank you. Well, I was unfortunately given 20 minutes, and now it's a bit less. So I could spend 2 hours here about talking my stuff. But thank you, Lauri, for inviting me, and thank you, everyone, for having me here. I will be briefly giving you a overview of what is Lock Shields and who am I and etc. My name is Carry Kangur. Those who speak English can call me Carry. Thank you. And my first question is always when I talk about Lock Shields is like, who has heard of Lock Shields before? Oh, nice. And who have been participating as training audience in the past or now or part of the organizers? Still a few. Nice. So just to give an information to me, how deep can I go with that topic? Or maybe I'm just repeating myself. That's basically the entry. Oh, sorry about me as well. So 3 years in the center, CCDCOE. There's no CCDC logo here, by the way. Oh. Yes, here it goes. So yeah, so it's a NATO Cooperative Cyber Defense Center of Excellence, and for me, it has been 3 years now. This experience, background, shortly, teacher by education, most of professional life in IT. So that's how I ended up in CCDCOE, doing some IT project management stuff. In reality, well, organizing events, as we see. So let's go on. In a nutshell, Lock Shields is I call it a platform, not just a cyber defense exercise, the greatest in the world, of course that as well, but I call it more as a platform to enhance collaboration and training. So this is what we also tell our partnering organizations, our member nations of the CCDCOE, because what we do in CCDCOE by providing the Lock Shields, it is more of a platform, because if we say it's a service as such, I would say that platform is better explaining of what we do, because more or less the service that we provide for the training audience, the nations, the organizations, for them it's a platform. They define their own goals. They define how they participate in the exercise. So that's why I call it a platform rather than a exercise which is like really directly controlled, how you do it. So it's more of a platform. Our mission is to, of course, enhance cooperation between nations and partners. About CCDCOE, we have 39 different nations as part of this center, so our stakeholders, so to say. It's not only NATO, although NATO is in front, we are actually not we are not under NATO structure, so we are NATO affiliated. We are not getting money from NATO, so we are more or less like independent, supervised a bit and given some direction where to go. So just to be clear, we are not, we are not doing NATO exercise. NATO has somewhere like in a schedule what we do, but it's not NATO exercise. So our role in NATO and also in Lock Shields is actually to enhance the cooperation between the 39 nations, which are like from all the time zones, from Brazil to Japan, Singapore, sorry, not Singapore. They are participating in Lock Shields, but in another form. But so basically it spans throughout the time zones up to Australia as well, yeah. So we basically support NATO by providing this platform so NATO itself can, and like-minded nations can work, let's say, more nicely, make it easier for them because they can cooperate in Lock Shields, for example. Of course, lots of other stuff we do as well. We enhance cooperation between civilian and military, of course, public, private, academia, industry. So all these fancy words, we try to put them in one big room or environment and let it work out. So that's why it's why we can call it the world's greatest or biggest exercise, because it's just so 360 degrees, so many different people there, so that's why it makes it so big. Of course, who will benefit? Our nations and the like-minded partnering nations. We have also not only nations, but as I mentioned already, Singapore, for example, we have organizations who are also taking part of the either developing the exercise or playing there. For example, Singapore, we have a partner university there. We have partners from Brazil doing sort of system development. Of course, individual participants. Now, this is actually taking together both the who are organizing the exercise and those who participate. Again, a little bit of background. So in Estonia, we hosted. This is true. We hosted for the past 5 years, I think, in the Hotel Hilton. Very nice place to host something. Can definitely suggest that. And it's only for the organizers. So the blue teams, which call the training audience, they do not. They're not amongst our rooms there. This year, I will be telling about the numbers as well quickly, but in Estonia, what we organize the, let's say, headquarters for running the exercise. So it's like all the staff members who set up, help set up the venue, build the infrastructure, do the opposing force, red teaming, whatever. So everything, it's like a headquarters for the exercise. For those who participate in Locked Shields, they are all remotely. So even though in Estonia we do have RIA participating this year, or organizing from the Estonian side, and also actually Cyber Command is also involved. So 2 Estonian teams, we can say. They are joining the cyber environment virtually for us, although they are in Estonia. So we have teams from 38 countries, not 39 in Locked Shields, and total of 24 teams. So they actually do combined teams there, not only, let's say, single teams, etc. Right. So who benefits? Of course, everyone. Everyone is after the Locked Shields marathon. Everyone is smarter a bit again and exhausted and wants to take a break. It's a big 1-week event full of either defending or system maintenance. Depends on the point of view. Right. And academia, we do research there as well. Well, this year we had a AI blue team. Not sure what they were exactly doing, what were the results. Haven't seen them yet. I will get them, I think, soon. But the idea was basically to test out preliminary testing, how to use AI similar, I guess, technologies to prevent attacks, detect attacks, etc. So maybe this will bring us more kind of AI capability in terms of cyber defense in the next years. Depends what data did we gather, etc. Locked Shields is a really good place to do data science, because the amount of data with attacks and defenses that go around in a safe environment, let's say controlled environment, it's really a good place. So definitely academia is interested, and the industry, to test out new technology or promote their technology as well. Right. Okay. Mostly what I said already. International, definitely. Collective in individual training. Now, this is the collective training that the blue teams figure out themselves how they play the exercise. In individual level, yes, as well, but just to give an understanding that it's a team effort, but in lots of aspects, it is actually individual training as well. For example, from the organizer's side, there's these aspects there. Blue versus red, mentioned. Red being the bad guys, blue the good guys. Game-based, which means we have a full scenario, backstories, lots of books written basically, so it makes sense what's going on in the environment. It's not just IPs against IPs, it's literally like a story behind it in that sense. And so complex, including ICS, Industrial Control System, SCADA. The main point behind that is that we are not dealing with only, let's say, normal office environment, which we use as a training, platform, we do include rather complex systems. This year we had, for example, a gas plant, like starting from the well, compressing it and putting it into energy. So the full pipeline, so it was virtualized everything. So we do try to include lots of these components of national critical infrastructure, what can be considered as national critical infrastructure. Innovative, of course, we are a community event in that sense that every year there is someone who wants to bring something interesting there. And so in that sense, we do stay innovative as what kind of attack vectors the red team is developing, or what kind of technologies are we using. And mostly in cyber range, CR14, thank you for hosting us. CR14 there, yes. And some parts are also in the cloud, so we're using Azure AD. Probably will be moving more a bit to cloud to play out a bit of more realism. And friendly competition, I want to enhance that. Again, Lock Shields has been called, I'm not really happy about it, but a Cyber Olympics. No, it's not. It's about collaboration. So it's more and more going towards nations joining up in one team. It's more moving that way. In that sense, if you have a team of Koreans and a team of Estonians and Canadians together, I would say that being competitive, it will be very hard because most of the effort will go to establishing communications. How do we do things together? So that's why I'm saying that competition, it's getting less attention, hopefully. And aside from the laser, no, okay. Aside from the main exercise, we do have a strategic level exercise, basically a tabletop built on top of Lock Shields, main track. By using what happens in Lock Shields, they do play out let's say, different scenarios or injects to decision makers to, let's say, pinpoint out like weaknesses in the national policy. So this is like an exercise inside an exercise. Okay, very nice. Our fictional map as well. The never-ending war between Berelia and Crimsonia. Berelia being the island. Greenland is there, Ireland is there, so somewhere in between. Doesn't exist in Google Maps, unfortunately, or fortunately, but it's there. We have our own maps platform as well, which looks like Google Maps, so this is just a snapshot of it. Divided into 24 regions. In case of Lock Shields, we have 24 teams, as I said, and the Crimsonians are harassing the Berelian national critical infrastructure and their services all the time. Sometimes even in different exercises which we run, they even sometimes use land forces. Oh my! So it's a struggle between those two countries. And of course we have the how call it a maritime zone, which is like neutral, or how to say, there are some gas wells there which Berelia wants to take some gas and Crimsonia says, but no, you do not get it. So it's like a no man's land. So there's lots of things moving around in the scenario. So what do we have this year? Do we have time? Yes, okay. Just the highlights of where not the main effort has gone, but what we usually bring out as more, say, understandable, or what we want to point out is air defense. This is something really interesting because we've integrated air defense system also, I think, with the satellite system, which is here. So Brazilians providing us air defense system, satellite provided by Spaceseat, Estonian company, and so we were integrating this, we'll call spatial systems, so to say, together. And these are the more complex ones. We have our own 5G built from Open 5G something. So it's not like commercial software. We literally have antennas in our lab area, which I asked, if can we make calls to Lock Shields network with our phones, and the answer was, almost. We can use data, but not calls yet. So just to, we have the full, let's say, 5G deployment there. Again, voice over internet protocol using the 5G again. So again, linked together. Financial system was brought in last year. That has been really interesting in my opinion. I know financial sector is having their own exercises or tabletops or something, but in our case we are mimicking like a SWIFT protocol between these regions, so that the actual central banking system, I think, will get attacked and is kind of disrupted, so the training audience cannot, for example, do money transaction between their regions, or can't get salary, so it will be a problem for a nation, I guess. Right. Gas, as I said, really interesting. Also new this year. This is the only like really new one. We used to have a water purification plant, but we told the Singaporeans that hey, we want something new, and they were really agile and that, so they provided us gas, which is really relevant, I think. So we're happy about that. And I mentioned already the cloud and on-premise stuff, so we're hoping to get more Azure cloud microservices integrated the upcoming years. And of course, I have to mention our container orchestration, Kubernetes. It has been a mess to set it up in Lockchills, and but we got it working, so we're happy about that. We get our few web pages up and running with the cost of half of the cyber range, I think. Yep, environment. So we have the technical layer there. We have the information layer, which is basically an information environment. So it's not only technical. I will show them quickly the kind of structure as well. But so we have the technical, let's say, challenges and everything, and then we have the non-technical parts, which we challenge also media specialists, legal specialists, and also, let's say, kind of strategical communication specialist or intel analysts. Basically, we are creating a misinformation campaigns, fake Twitters, all this kind of stuff within the Lockchills environment, and linking it together with the technical part, so that the technical training audience would kind of understand that, you know, bring more realism. That's the whole point, that sometimes the enemy might reveal something by accident in social media, and this can be used again by the defenders to, you know, prevent something. And also user simulation worth mentioning. So we're not just red versus blue. We do have a middle layer there. So while the training audience is defending their systems, they have to actually continue providing services for the end users. So I think this is a really interesting aspect as well. You know, the funny joke was from years back when we didn't have, I think, user simulation. What the blue teams did was just, you know, literally, you know, take the cable out and, you know, no attacks, no problem. But they have to continue providing service for the users. So we have an entire team doing that, mainly from Taltech. So cooperation, yoo-hoo. And integration, so again, mentioned a bit, integration between international law in cyber environment, media, digital forensics, of course, big portion as well, information environment, and strategical decision making. So these are all more or less integrated in one way or another. Numbers this year. 38 nations participating. We have 20 plus major partners organizing or developing it. In Tallinn, in April, we will have approximately 375 developers, planners, organizers here in Tallinn. Together about 440 actually, so quite a lot. We grew from last year. Right, environment, 5,500 VMs, 8,000 regime attacks approximately. So the whole Lockchills environment gets deployed, takes about 2 days. So training audience, yeah, 38, 24 teams. And our impact is basically to around 3,000 participants all over the world. So quite big numbers. Again, last year it was 2,400. We grew again. Oh, not this one. Quick. Not this one. Well, I have only 2 minutes now, so. Quickly, the structure as well. So these 440 or 375 kind of fit all in these colors and stuff. Very important colors you have to always remember are green is the infrastructure developers, all the technical stuff. Yellow being cyber situational awareness kind of track, so to say. Red team being the opposing force, and the white team being all the rest, which means non-technical challenges, also supporting functions as quality assurance, etc. So we have, it's like another big, it's living its own life basically, the log chills structure. We literally have a special investigation team which acts like a police within log chills. Like in case someone says that we do not agree with, you know, the feedback. So there's a police coming and processing that. Yep, and all the nice colors and flags there as well. Yeah. Well, that's it. Right, thank you.
So we can take a couple of questions here, and then after this, you know, we'll definitely give you opportunity to ask questions later as well. Marile?
Hello, and thank you, Carry, for the presentation. You mentioned that LogShield can act as a test bed for new technologies. Can you elaborate on that? And if I have a new technology and I would like to test it, so what should I do?
Yes. So few examples. We've had experience with, I think, for example, SpaceIt is a good example of, I think, not sure how big they are, but they do space technology. And I know that by deploying and developing stuff for log chills, they do get a lot of good ideas what to maybe integrate for their own, I don't know, beta versions for the clients. So in that sense, this example can be used in other different, I don't know, ways as well for different companies. But our main, the companies we want to bring on board, there's lots of freedom we have. There's some limitations as well. But the main interest from our side is, as I said, national critical infrastructure, something that would make sense in a cyber defense kind of scenario. So financial satellites linked together with national, I don't know, airspace defense, these all make sense. So in that way it's possible, but case by case basically. info@ccdc.org.
And we have one more question over here.
Thanks so much. You mentioned you simulate also administrative or strategic aspect of this reality. So my question, in exercises, do lawyers as useless as in reality? Or
Sorry, what was the middle word? Who were useless?
Lawyers.
I haven't been part of the law track, but CCDCOE is one, let's say, research area is cyber international law, how it applies to cyber or vice versa. So in that sense, our, let's say, media track, the legal advisors who we train, we basically challenge them with questions that they might have to consult technicians with, or technicians have to consult with them, because I mean, maybe in defense it's maybe easier, but in offense you need to really consult with legal advisors basically if you can do this or not. So did this kind of answer your question, or they are not useless there? No.
Okay.
Sorry? How is it going? You're happy with the results? I mean, I'm looking at the statistics. We are getting more and more legal advisors being interested in participating in log chills because it is basically bringing a new domain or more knowledge to their everyday work. So it's a really specialized kind of training what they get. And
we have a short intervention here as well.
A question. First of all, international law is important, coming from foreign ministry. I wanted to ask about the previous year's experiences with SCADA, and actually building up upon Marile's question here. LogShields has been using, let's say, Siemens, different small bits of technology. What has been the feedback from these big companies that you have used so far, and what has been kind of this a training aspect for them?
So Siemens is an example of probably not the place where they test new technology. It was more about them being part of LogShields and being visible in the cyber kind of awareness, let's say, project, and more because they are a big company. So their feedback mostly, I mean, when we talk about Siemens, for example, they were happy. They had it like a yearly kind of investment, what they did to us, basically providing technology, expertise, but they had their own, cyber gang, they're doing their own stuff. So it was more like them being involved and showing to the public that they are interested in this cyber kind of securing their products, etc. So it was more about exposure for them. We do not have, I think, an example of a really complex SCADA system that is using LogShields as a test bed yet.
All right, thank you, and thank you, Carry. It's a mug. It's a mug. Yeah. It's yeah. Thank you so much. I'm gonna switch microphones here. Good. Right. So the final part of this tonight, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what one of the new initiatives that we have at RIA as well for a local Estonian community, so that you would be aware if somebody asks you about this, what's going on, and maybe there's also ways for you to participate. So we may go, I don't know, 5 minutes over time, but I think it's all right with our, online audience as well. But we call this in Estonian, we call this küberpööre, and in English we decided that we'll go with CyberTransformation, which sounds like the next iteration for the Transformers franchise, but it's actually something much more simple. It's we're rolling out, and we've already rolled out some grants for small, medium companies who are not cybersecurity companies to do more cybersecurity. So let me just tell you like an overview of what it is, and then I'll end it with this sort of a call to action of if you want to be involved in any way, you can come and talk to us about this later on. So when we go for this, it's when we started this, we decided that we have this opportunity with the European Cyber Competence Center and the European funds to actually make a change, make this sort of a little bit of a, make a change in the Estonian small, medium enterprises to who could assess and improve their cybersecurity posture a little bit, because we've seen at RIA that SMEs, when they get hit, would they talk to us about an incident, we ask them, so what have you been doing to prevent this? They're like, we haven't done anything yet. And we're going to do stuff now that we've been hit. So we saw that there were a lot of these companies who may not have had the resources to actually assess their cybersecurity posture. And then we decided that, hey, maybe we could help them out. And so we're doing this as a pilot project aimed at some specific sectors, industry, logistics, wholesale, retail, construction, so on, to actually see whether these companies would be willing to invest resources into their cybersecurity if we gave them a little boost. A little boost means 50% of their costs in some of these areas and up to 60,000 euros per company. So we came up with this scheme, and the scheme goes like this. A company gets a cybersecurity assessment from a service provider. The service provider assesses the company identifies the shortcomings and produces a roadmap for that company. And then the company puts together a project to, address those shortcomings, to make them better. Everybody wins. Yeah, that's the end goal here, that everybody wins. But a little bit more concrete, the roadmap that we're talking about has to be very similar in terms of quality, but we don't want to go and sort of like limit the amount of companies who could provide such a roadmap or assessment service. So we don't want to go to and say that, hey, this company is good, this company is not good, and all you construction companies, you go to that one, but don't go to the other one. So we wanted to make it so that they could come to the open market and get their cybersecurity assessment and that roadmap from the open market. So we provided a methodology, examples, and companies, if they want to get that 50% for the roadmap, they could ask for this sort of a roadmap assessment, and then they could get a grant for this up to 10,000 euros or 50% of this assessment, because every company is different. Everybody has their own needs, everybody has their own size, maybe have different locations. Some assessments using our methodology could take maybe 2,000 euros, of which half of which we can provide as a grant. Some may take 20 million euros, and then of which we can only provide 10,000 euros as our grant. After that roadmap is done, this company will work with the service provider and or separately with another service provider to come up with a project to address the issues that have been identified for the next 12 months, because that's when our project money runs out. And these can be steps in a longer process that cybersecurity, as you know, is never a done deal. After 12 months of doing things, you're not ready as a company, you're not secure, but it could be the first steps towards addressing the small and important details, or starting to rebuild your company's IT infrastructure in a more secure way. You take the quotes from the service providers, and then the grant size for the project is up to 50,000 euros, up to 50% of total project cost. And there you can include personnel costs, consulting costs, and so on. All these actual limitations and what you can do, what you can't do, what you should do, are all up on the Enterprise Estonia website. Now they are called the Estonian Business Innovation Agency. Yes, EBIA. Their website, still in Estonia, you can go and visit them at eas.ee, so it's still Enterprise Estonia. But so the idea is that a company gets an assessment from an external service provider, and they can get some grants if they use RIA's methodology. It's not that very flexible. Then, using a roadmap or the roadmap, they can put together a project to improve their cybersecurity posture. This is always based on a roadmap. The client's own resources and outside services are both eligible. It's a little bit more flexible, and so on. But based on these two things, what we're hoping here is that all the Estonian cybersecurity service providers and companies would, in the end, find a long-term solution with some of our cybersecurity companies, or find their own way of doing cybersecurity in their company themselves. So this is the basic, the maturity, low maturity, going towards a little bit more mature cybersecurity in a company. What can you do? Or what is it to you? So what we're trying to find here is also how many Estonian cybersecurity service providers would be willing to participate in this open market and provide that sort of a road mapping assessment services to Estonian companies. Maybe if you have a company that is focusing on some of these services, you can let us know, and we'll put your information on our website. And so when a construction company or a food industry company or a logistics company is looking for somebody who could come in and do a cybersecurity assessment, your information could also be up on our website, and they can get a quote from you as well. So let us know. If you are not in this business of providing these cybersecurity solutions yourself, but you know somebody, a company who could benefit from such a financial support scheme or mechanism, let them know. Let them Google us, küberpööre. You can go to our RIA's website, you can find it out there as well. Because in the end, this is supposed to be an incentive for some of these companies who may have not thought about cybersecurity that much before to actually start thinking about cybersecurity. So this is what we're doing. The long-term view over this is that we're trying to get also other countries in Europe through that network I told you about earlier to try and test our methodology in their own countries as well, with their small and medium companies. We will also we'll take the results of our pilot project, and we'll advocate for more funds if we see that this is a beneficial and worthwhile dealing. And this aim is to have such kind of like a soft standard of services which could be comparable across the European Union in different countries, across service providers, where you as service providers and cybersecurity specialists will compete for the clients, and so we can build a little bit up the demand for these services through these mechanisms as well. Questions? Sure.
First of all, thanks. That's a very cool idea, I think, this concept. But in your concept, it is for small, medium enterprise, right? So in your world, the perfect model of cybersecurity is what? Is it Estonian standards or else? I mean, if assessment will be done, does it mean that in mirror and surprise it is compliant? Does it mean it means Estonian standards or else again?
Okay. Thank you for that question. As much as I understand this, so our aim here is to keep this assessment on this side a little bit lower on maturity and keep it on some of the basic technical things, such as, you know, if you scan your company in some ways, you find the vulnerabilities and you fix them. And the longer term solution is to buy some of these services or to actually work towards a standard. The standard can be an ISO standard. It can be the Estonian information standard. It can also be the Center for Internet Security 18. It's not really a standard. It's a control mechanism. The standards, or also you can have some of these assurance papers, controls from ISAE and those kinds of things from law companies. Those come later. We're talking about a very basic maturity level of assessment. And so the ideal here, I don't think it's even relevant because like everybody has their own view of an ideal, and then we're trying to get like this baseline up a little bit. You can come and ask me about this a little bit later as well. I'll be staying here a bit. We're already over time a little bit, so there's a lesson for us here. Things take a little longer than we thought. We will consider this. Before you go, one more thing. Many have asked us about, in different venues, about the possibility of Estonian companies who could actually, how to apply for EU projects, EU funds, and so on. And so we decided we would actually ask you if you represent some company or yourself, if you are interested in a workshop we can do for a community about writing proposals, nothing to do with cybersecurity, but for the cybersecurity community, how to write proposals and what cybersecurity project calls are available at this time or are upcoming in some short time. Let us know if you're interested. You can let us know if you were, you know, like signing in, there was a registration sheet. There was a weird little question about, are you interested in some of this workshop? You can go back and then just tick that box if you are. So we made it really, really easy for you to not even come up and speak to us because some of you are Estonian, you may not actually want to speak to us. So you can actually just go and tick a box and then we'll know that you were interested in this. With that, we will end this formal part of this. Please stay. There's drinks and foods and keep on hanging out here for another hour or so. And if you feel that you want to stay for longer, there's bars around here that you can buy some things on your own. All right, thank you very much. Have a good night, guys.